I like to use the word peaceful because I think that sums up really what running is to me. I have time in
Mm.
my own head. I have time to think about what I'm doing. I also have time to build on my strengths and my weaknesses. So when I'm struggling in a marathon, and let's face it, whether you're a marathon runner or you never run a marathon in your life, marathons are hard,
Mm-hmm.
because of their nature. And even if you train for one, and I've done 324, 25 marathons now in my life, done a lot of running, yet I still find them hard. It's never going to get easier. So when I'm in that moment, if it's hard, I really appreciate it and I understand why I'm doing it. And I think about the story behind why this trip is happening and why I'm raising the money for Prostate Cancer UK.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ultra Running Summit Series. I'm your host, Eric Brumell, and my guest today is Nick Butter. Nick is an ultra runner, explorer, adventurer, and philanthropist. He grew up in Dorset, United Kingdom, and ran his first marathon at age 11. His current project, Running the World 196, is a massive fundraiser in support of prostate cancer research. Throughout 2018 and 2019, Nick's mission is to run one marathon in each of the 196 countries around the world. He hopes that this adventure will inspire young minds, old minds, and any minds that we can all do our bit to value the time that we have on this wonderful planet, even if our bit is just being grateful for today. So how are you today, Nick?
Hey, yeah, I'm good, thank you. My legs were a bit tired, but I'm in good spirits.
Marathon number 5 yesterday, was it?
Correct. Yeah, marathon number 5 in the Dominican Republic.
Okay, wow. So it's quite a shock. I noticed you made a choice to do a first marathon in Canada, and then you've migrated south since then.
Yeah.
What sparked that decision?
I wanted to do it as logically as I possibly could. So I wanted to start from the kind of North and Central America and then work my way down in order to. It's very difficult to plan the route, put it that way, because of climate, because of different races around the world, because of the world major marathons as well, because I'm doing all of the world major marathons. So
Whoa.
that's London, Boston, Chicago, London, Boston, Chicago, New York, Tokyo, and Berlin. I think that's 6. So I need to dart around the world a little bit. So yeah, I started in Toronto, which was about between -15 and -20, which was super cold even for Toronto at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I worked my way down. I then went to Miami, which was hot and raining, but actually a very good climate to run in. Bit humid, but not bad. And then I went down to the Bahamas. The Bahamas this is all in a matter of a few days as well, so it was really busy.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bahamas was really, really wet. It was not sunny and glorious like you expect the Bahamas to be.
Okay, that is a surprise.
It was torrential rain, but it was nice because it wasn't cold. So, back in England, we're used to very cold rain. So not cold like Canada, but cold for us.
Yeah.
And then I moved on to Haiti. And Haiti was an experience, to say the least. And now I'm here in the Dominican Republic.
And where are you on to next?
I'm going to Cuba.
Excellent.
Yeah, Cuba, then Jamaica, and then Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay. Yeah, you've got a nice stretch for a few weeks here. It seems anyway. I know lots of people that are making trips down that way from Canada to just get some warmer weather.
Yeah, I'm. When I was planning the trip, I thought, you know what, I don't mind running in heat, but looking back, I think I should have probably mixed it up a little bit more because I've got a bit sunburn, I've got a bit of heat rash, and it is super hard when you're running out in places where you don't know where the water's going to be. And yesterday's run, I was having to find as much water as I possibly could because I was so dehydrated. But yeah, it was. It's good, and I do love the heat. But sometimes, a couple of hours into a marathon, I could really do with some colder temperatures.
Yeah, and I feel fortunate enough to be able to say that I saw some of your run yesterday. You do a great job of like bringing people along with you on your Instagram stories. So I highly recommend to any of my viewers definitely check out Nick on Instagram. He's got a wonderful Instagram page. So let's change gears here. And I'm wondering if you believe that you're born with a purpose, or if you think that in life you choose your own purpose.
I think it's probably a mixture of the two. So by born with a purpose, I would go down the route of, you are what you've been brought up to be. So, if your parents are both super into athletics, for example, then you either rebel and go the other way, or you completely follow them and go down the same route, generally. But ultimately, I think it's yourself that drives what you want to get out of life. And for me, it was just the feeling of using my one shot at life on the planet as the best as I possibly could, and being able to get to the point when I'm old and grey and sit with my grandkids. If I'm lucky to get that old and to have that life, then I want to be able to say, yeah, this is what I did and this is why I did it, and I made the most of my time. And that's what I urge everybody I speak to do. I think too many people I think too many people don't appreciate what the value of today is, and just accept that this is just another 24-hour period, and they'll get another one tomorrow and then the next day. But for lots of people around the world, that's not the case.
Yeah, I can completely relate to that. I feel like there's not time that I've wasted in my life, but there's definitely years where I was ungrateful for the time that I had.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just being grateful and valuing the every day that we've got. And when you go to bed at night, think, did I do what I wanted to do in that day, and was I the right kind of person I wanted to be? And ultimately, this trip is ticking those boxes for me pretty regularly.
Mm. Does running have a spiritual aspect for you, or is there another reason that you run?
It's very peaceful. Yeah. I like to use the word peaceful because I think that sums up really what running is to me. I have time in my own head. I have time to think about what I'm doing. I also have time to build on my strengths and my weaknesses. So when I'm struggling in a marathon, and let's face it, whether you're a marathon runner or you never run a marathon in your life, marathons are hard.
Mm-hmm.
Because of their nature. And even if you train for one, and I've done 324, 25 marathons now in my life, done a lot of running, yet I still find them hard. It's never going to get easier. So when I'm in that moment, if it's hard, I really appreciate it, and I understand why I'm doing it, and I think about the story behind why this trip is happening and why I'm raising the money for Prostate Cancer UK, and helping to stop other men dying. But also, there's times when I will just be running along and thinking about where I am and how lucky I am. And certainly a couple of days ago in Haiti, when Haiti is a country of 11 million people and 75% of them live on less than a couple of dollars a day, which is extreme poverty. And you've got whole families washing in streams and rivers, which are filthy. And I was fortunate enough to meet some of the orphans from the 2010 earthquake. And they were just so positive because of the interaction they've had with some missioners out there, and they've done some really great work. So I think it's a combination of being happy for the environment that I'm in, whether it's sunny, whether it's cold, whether I'm in a forest, wherever it may be, having that kind of fortunate attitude, and then also really thinking about why I'm doing it. And I guess ultimately that then gets me through the whole marathon, and before I know it, I'm finished.
Yeah, the why is such a key part, isn't it? I always try and teach that, like, if I try and bestow some great wisdom, not that I really have any on people, but if someone comes to me for advice on how to build this habit or that habit, I always say, like, focus on the why. If you can keep that in mind, then the struggle doesn't become a struggle anymore. It becomes something you enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's about doing things for the right reasons, and I think a lot of people that I've helped to get into running have said, "Oh, I want to do this because I want to lose weight, or I want to do this to get fit." And actually, sometimes it's the case that actually they don't want to get fit or get healthy. It's because their friends and their family tell them they should do it, and ultimately that's why some people fail in that world because they're not doing it for them and they don't really believe it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So the why for me behind this whole trip is about a guy called Kevin Webber. I met Kevin a couple of years ago. We were running out in the Sahara Desert.
Marathon des Sables, right?
Correct, yeah, Marathon des Sables, and it was a very hot race, and we got to know each other over the course of a week. Fantastic guy. He's 51. He's got kids. He's got a fantastic home and family and lovely wife. But he just dropped this bombshell on me that he has terminal prostate cancer and was told he'd live for about 2 years. He's surpassed that, and he's now in year 3, so he's beaten those odds already. But he's one of these people that you meet and completely captures that attitude of, you know what, I've only got one life. And speaking with him, he certainly wasn't like that before his diagnosis. So his message to me out in the desert was, don't wait for a diagnosis. So I took that very much literally, and I am now living my life not waiting for a diagnosis and doing what I can to help other people with prostate cancer and the research in order to stop the cancer at all, but also just to live every day with. I don't like to use the phrase without any regrets, because I don't think that's really possible, because sometimes you do have little regrets. Mm-hmm. But you're living each day as if you're doing what you want to be and being a good person.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. And Kevin, is he from somewhere near where you live, or is it sort of a pen pal relationship you have?
Yeah, so so I've had dinner with Kev. I've seen, I'm a good friend of Kev's, and we live relatively close by. It was completely coincidental that we happened to be in the same place at the same time in the desert in this race. So he and I have met up, and he lives probably about 3 hours from where I live at home. So
okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, I just asked because the running community is honestly one of my favorite communities to be a part of. And it's just, there's so many wonderful people to get to know and to interact with, no matter where you are in the world. So it's just, there's so many benefits to community.
That's so true. And I've already made friends on this trip that live in completely different parts of the world that I know that will stay in touch, and we've already had messages to each other. And the running community is special.
Yeah. Getting back to more so the training side of things, do you have any, like the running is it is a very physical thing, but do you have mental practices that you do as part of your training, like meditation or Tai Chi or Qigong or something like that?
I don't do any form of meditation or anything like that. I just kind of do kind of a bit of a mindful thinking, and try and use silence as a way to really think about what I'm doing. I think silence is a very underutilized tool in our life. Mm-hmm. I've read fantastic books about how in our day and age we don't have a lot of silence generally. There's always an aircon on, or there's a fridge humming or something. But if you can get yourself to a place where actually you're in silence and put your phones down for a bit and have a think about what you're doing, generally that gets me in the right frame of mind. And personally for me, without doing that for the first couple of runs I did, I don't think I would have been able to get to where I am now. And certainly every run that I do, those first 5 miles may not be silent, but I'm internally thinking about what I'm doing and what I've done and why I'm grateful for it. And I think it's just generally thinking about that a little bit more and looking in on yourself.
Do you run with music?
Not really. A couple of reasons really. One, because I'm not really a marathon runner. I'm more of an ultra marathon runner. So I like my super long distance. And if you're running for a day or half a day, you get through a lot of repetitive music. Mm-hmm. So I do listen to music occasionally. If I need that extra boost at the end of a hard run or something, then I'll pop some music on. But generally, I'll either run without anything and just take in the surroundings, or I'll listen to audiobooks and podcasts. It's my way of making the most of the time and being able to read without actually reading whilst I'm running. So yeah, there's some good books out there.
Yeah, and I mean, it does give you opportunities for silence. Like that's kind of why I run without music, is just to enjoy the silence for a little bit.
Yeah, it is really special. And even when, I run with people sometimes, you have those lulls in conversation and you're just running along next to each other, enjoying the surroundings. And I think that's really special. There's something there that I can't really put words to, but it's special.
I completely agree. So other than a good podcast and good shoes and proper, clothing for the weather, what would you say, especially for an ultra, what would you say are sort of your 5 go-to must-haves in your pack?
Oh yeah, okay. So number one, some pain relief. You can't
Okay.
go into those races without pain relief. I think you can struggle through if you want, but ultimately, if it's a super long race, then have some painkillers on you. I mean, these last 5 marathons, I've had a couple of painkillers in my just normal off-the-shelf painkillers in my pocket every run. I've not taken them, but they're just there as a psychological little bit of a buffer if you do get into some pain. Water, lots and lots of water. And as I've come to learn over the last few countries that I've done, if you don't have water and you plan to get it, make sure that you're prepared. So I've always ran with money on me. So whether or not I'm in a country that always takes card, I always run with money, because you never know if you're going to get into trouble and need to pay someone to help you, or whether you need water, or whether you need some food. So yesterday when I was running was a prime example when I took money with me, but I had forgotten that the people of the Dominican Republic don't usually accept US dollars. So I was out running with US dollars and needed some water, but didn't have any pesos. So yeah, I broke my rule there, but it was, so little things like that, time and time again, I should know better, that I just need to check that kind of stuff. So, and on top of that, I think, when I'm in an ultra anyway, I always run with a foil blanket, like safety conscious, but at the same time, a foil blanket is so light, so small. And if you do sprain an ankle or something and there's nobody around, keeping yourself warm is really key. Or cooling yourself down, depending on what situation you're in. Or you might need to help somebody else. So, yeah.
Can you tell me, I've recently written a book all about habits and the habits that I use to practice, and usually practice every day if I can. Are there 3 habits that you can think of that you practice almost every single day, religiously, if you like that term?
Yeah. Yes. So number one is definitely what I was referring to earlier, about being mindful of yourself and others around you, and being grateful. So spending a little bit of time, I always do this before I get into bed, or when I've got into bed, just before I turn off the light, I suppose. Just think about what I've done in that 20 odd hours of that day, because generally we only really have about 20 hours, maybe sometime only 15 in a day, because we're asleep. So what did I do in my day? Was I happy with how I acted? And what am I going to do the next day that I should have done? So kind of just constantly reviewing, and I'm not sitting there writing detailed notes. I'm just having a quick 5-10 minute thought, put my phone down and think about it, and just sit and think. And I think I really get a lot from that. Like, that 10 minutes is such a valuable time. So that's number one. Definitely, that's definitely the top of the list. That's a no-brainer. Second one is to stretch, believe it or not.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah.
So not a lot of stretching. I don't really believe in like excessive amounts of stretching every day, but just a bit. I do my calves, do my hamstrings, and I kind of try and sort my feet out a little bit as well, just to make sure that they're prepared. Because especially in this expedition, it's not, it's very easy to go, oh, actually, something like my toenails are too long, or I've not made sure basically maintenance on my body to make sure that tomorrow is going to be all right. So other than that, I think the last habit, I suppose, related to the first one, is about sleep. So getting enough sleep, and over these last, so I'm on day 12 now, I think that's right. Over this period, I've been very active with getting more sleep. So I don't have a lot of time because I'm traveling all the time, which means, and obviously my body clock is wrong because I'm still recovering from, well, I've probably recovered now, but over the last couple of weeks, I've been recovering from the UK time difference, going to Canada and then down into the States. So I've been in bed for about 12 hours on that sleep. So I'll go to bed at 6 or 7 in the evening.
Okay.
I may not sleep that long, but I'm resting.
Mm-hmm.
So being mindful that your body and your mind as well really needs sleep.
Mm-hmm.
There's a really great TED talk actually on, I think it's called This Will Send You to Sleep or something like that. It's the science of sleep and why it's so important, and what your brain does when you're sleeping that the rest of your body doesn't do. So yeah, I value sleep a lot. And
Yeah.
I actually don't like sleeping because I feel like I'm wasting time. But because I've got that knowledge that I really do need to sleep, then I actively know I get into bed and I go, right, come on, let's get some sleep banked, and then I can get on with it for the day.
And it's one of those things that no matter where you are in the world, there's so many people who are sleep deficient. And
Yeah.
I'd speak from experience. I used to be in a corporate job where I was working really, really long hours, pushing myself to survive on 5 hours of sleep or less sometimes. And it's just, when I look back, I think that's ridiculous. But yeah.
So many people do it, and especially people that are actually quite sedentary in their lifestyle. They're, the people that are office workers that sit around generally have less and less sleep because they make what I would call reasons for why they need to be awake. So I need to get the report done, or I need to do this for the kids, or that kind of stuff. But actually, if you put your sleep first, everything else will kind of improve.
Less sleep means more stress, really.
Yeah, simple as that. Yeah.
So how do you, when you're running, how would you say is your most effective way of pushing past a wall that might come up? How do you channel sort of reserve energy?
So in two parts, I think. First part being that I've probably been in a worse situation. So I've probably been in a race or a run that I've had much more pain. It's been like, if I'm hurting at 10 miles and I've got 16 to go, I've probably been in a race when I'm hurting at 10 miles and I've got 80 to go. So I know, right, come on, it can be over. I just need to put one foot in front of the other. And then there's also the other side of it when I'm thinking about the certain mantras and things that people have told me in the past that I can use, and the people that I've met. And there's all sorts of things. So a friend, Selena, who I ran with in the desert and also knows Kevin, said to me, if you can run. If you need to walk, and it's that need. And most of the time, you don't really need to. So kind of having those little snippets of information in your back pocket that you can push forward. But I generally just think about Kev and all those unfortunate people out in the world that remind me of how lucky I am. And actually, I'm so privileged to be able to run. I've got my arms, my legs, my sight, my everything, and so many people don't. So, you know what, I'm lucky. If it takes me 10 hours to run a marathon, then it takes me 10 hours. But so many people won't even be able to do that.
Yeah, so there's that element of gratitude again. It's hugely important.
Yeah, definitely.
So last question I have for you is, this one will definitely tie in Kevin, but how do you feel like running and your involvement in the community has enabled you to change the world?
Yeah, so really good question. My trip isn't just about Kevin and the prostate cancer research and all of that awareness. It's the forming a community and being able to link up with people. So I've got in my phone already from the last 12 days, probably at least 2 names a day where I've met people, spoken to people, just approached random people, whether they're on a run, whether they're sat next to me on a bus, and having that connections with people. It is so important and so great that by the time I finish this trip, I will have connections with people, most likely in every country in the world. I was traveling from Haiti 2 days ago on a bus from Haiti to the Dominican Republic. It was a 12-hour journey, which I thought was only going to take 6 hours. So it was a long old journey. But I sat next to this Haitian girl She spoke really good English. I just said hello to her. We got chatting. She told me about her and her life and how she's studying to be an architect, and she's in the Dominican Republic and going home after 5 years and wanting to go back and support her family and her country. And we've exchanged details, and later on today she's showing me some of the architecture in the Dominican Republic. And I've got her details, and I will be in contact with her probably forever. You know, we'll always have each other's details. And similarly, 2 days before that, I was with the missioners in Haiti showing me around the orphanage and the school that they built. So people are amazing, and the more and more people that you speak to, then I think the richer everybody's lives are going to be. And sometimes you do get the people that kind of just fob you off and don't really like look at you like, why are you talking to me? And that's fine if they want to do that. You know, don't constantly harass people, but just make that extra bit of effort to say hello, how are you, and ask about their lives and connect with them. And I was really shy as a child. I didn't like really playing with my friends in the playground when I was at school. I was super shy. I don't really know why, but I was. And over the course of life, I realized that the more you speak to people, the more you interact with people, the better you are connected with the world. So this trip is certainly going to tick that box.
Yeah, and I think the internet provides a perfect platform for that too. Like not only interacting with people, but sharing your story and sharing your message. And you do a great job of that with your Instagram. I really, really look forward to seeing the Dominican architecture later today, and I hope you share some photos of that.
Exactly. I'm going to write a blog actually very soon about technology running and the community that it provides, because the prime example is a couple of days before I landed in Toronto, I had a guy called Matt from a running club there contact me on Instagram and say, do you want to run with me? I've got a running club. You know, you've probably seen the video. I then ran with 10 or 15 of the running club, and it was all instigated through social media. And there are a lot of people in the world that think social media is either a waste of time or very narcissistic or doesn't help the population of anybody and whatever. But actually, there are pros and cons to everything, and I'm not saying that isn't the case in some situations. But actually, before my running career and the world of running, for me, I didn't bother with social media because I didn't have a need. But now I'm connected with so many people, and I've received literally hundreds of lovely messages from people all over the world saying, wishing me messages of support. I've had a few people that have been a bit mean, but I don't care about that. You know, that's fine. You take the rough with the smooth, and I'm quite happy to connect with people like that. And I'm looking forward to connect with more people. You know, I'm only on day 12, and I've got 538 to go.
Lots of connections to be made, and you can believe it that if you're ever out here on the west coast of Canada in Vancouver or anywhere nearby, call me up. We'll go for a run.
Yeah, let's do that. We will do that sometime in the future, I'm sure. The other thing I want to say is if people are watching and want to get in contact with me, then the easiest way is to go straight to the website, which is www.runningtheworld196.com, or just find me on Instagram, which is Nick Butter Run. Simple as that. Fantastic.
Thank you so much for being here today with me, Nick. This interview has been extremely informative, and I'm really, really grateful for your time and grateful for you taking time out of your schedule and just the opportunity to chat with you. It's been really great making this connection.
No, thank you, man. Really, really good. Take care, and we'll keep in touch.